You're listening to Subculture on CentralCoastRadio.com. I'm your host, Kyle, one of your hosts, and I'd like to talk about a comedy show, an excellent comedy show that is just finishing up its run at the Motley Bauhaus. And, well, if I would talk about this now because if there's a show that I think deserves a revival, it's this one. Maybe at this year's Fringe Festival, next year's Comedy Festival. I'm not sure. It was such an entertaining show. I really loved it. Now, what it is, as you walk into the Motley Bauhaus downstairs, you enter a French restaurant, a fancy French restaurant titled Rue de Toilette, and you can tell that you're really in for a show. Now, 100% French waiter with a dodgy accent and an even dodgier mustache shows us to our seats, and, well, I was handed a menu. Now, please, you need to return these menus at the end of the night. Just like a real Melbourne restaurant, they only made 12 and they need them for tomorrow. Now, also in walks a suspiciously young Texan oil tycoon with a hunger for violence. Now, Clint the oil man, played by Lucky Go, and Marcel the vaguely French waiter, played by Alex Donnelly, have more in common than just their very, very adequate peckers. Uh, they are, in fact, both trained assassins. Now, Agent 69 and Agent 420, you can tell this is a highbrow show. Each of them, they're heavily armed and they're each tasked with taking the other party out. Now, which one of these two assassins will succeed, or more accurately, which one of them will fail less? But we'll find out. But however, maybe if two Daniel Day Lewis appreciating goofballs can join forces, then nobody needs to go home in a doggy bag. Now, if that dinner and food pun makes you roll your eyes, then this is just the show for you because they understand just how silly some of the jokes in this show are. The John Wilkes Booth. It's the debut show of a comedy duo, Go and Donnelly, of the Handful of Bugs Theatre Company. Now, this company is so brand new, so fresh that the promo sticker for it on the back of the toilets is still fresh and hasn't been soiled yet. That's how new this company is. Um, but for this show, like the entire crew have collaborated writing for months, and from Monty Python to Leno and Woodley, they blended together kind of all of their comedic inspirations and kind of turned it into this non-stop barrage of rapid fire jokes. And I think that's one of the reasons that I liked this show so much, that it was just a joke, 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 joke. It was so quick, so funny. Like uh, I need to stress that this is really one of the best comedy plays I've ever seen. One of the ones that I've enjoyed the most. Now, in some ways, I actually found it funnier than maybe even my favorite shows of this year's Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Like I can really see the Monty Python influence, as well. What starts as a pretty simple enough premise goes completely off the rails into something just wonderfully absurd and just hilarious. Now, there's wordplay, there's slapstick, there's prop comedy, and even a musical number. Then the show really has it all, and the entire room was dying laughing the whole hour. Even the little things like Donnelly wearing a fake mustache over his real one as part of his dodgy French waiter disguise. Those little things had me in stitches, and both performers, they have excellent chemistry to boot, which is amazing. Just being like just being hysterically funny and being able to bounce off of each other and improvise with ease. Like, which is something I always love to see in a comedy festival, even something that's heavily scripted like this was. It really does show. It really does show when the comedians can just come up with things on the spot. I really do appreciate that. Like, Don Lee's individually, like Don Lee's waiter, kind of remind me of like a young Michael Palin, like kind of the character that he used to play very often in Monty Python sketches, and he's able to kind of make you laugh with every single little over the top French quirk and mannerism, and like it only expands from there as he moves on from that particular French waiter ruse as the show goes on. While Go is he was just so full of energy. Like I kept thinking of a young John Belushi. Um, like you can see from the sweat just beating off a guy just how much he's putting into the show. They even make note of it a couple of times in this show. Well, they did in this in the show that I went to see. Um, yeah. As for like as what can be expected, like sometimes things don't really work out or something might go wrong. And on opening night, Go was able to improvise with a blooper, but just salvaging it and turning it into one of the night's funniest moments. This is what I'm talking about when I say that I really like it when performers in a comedy show can just make up stuff and just roll with something, and for them to just be that hysterical and that funny just on their own, even beyond the written material. I really do appreciate that, and this show had it in spades. Um, and as much praise as I have for the two lead performers, I was also impressed by the creative work of Aisha Harris Westman and Liv McKenna. Now, the Motley Bauhaus is always a great venue. Like every show that I've seen there, I've really enjoyed. But downstairs kind of fits the show perfectly, and the transformation of it really sets the scene. And these two were the credited the crew and creative technical side, and but like the brick wall of the Motley Bauhaus downstairs kind of just lends itself instantly to the look of a French restaurant, just as authentically as it did to the drug den setting that of the last play that I saw down there. So like as ridiculous and as crazy as the show is, there actually was quite a lot of work put into the set itself, which was another plus for this show. Yeah, for this being Handful of Bags' first show, yeah, I think they really hit Handful of Bugs. Sorry, not Handful of Bags. Handful of Bugs Theater Company. Like, I think they really hit the ground running with this just absurdly entertaining debut. Um, like, I'm really excited to see what else they can come up with. But like, I would say, don't miss out. But unfortunately, I know its limited run has already finished. But I would say Handful of Bugs Theatre Company. Keep an eye on them. Check out their social media on Instagram, and yeah, just keep an eye out on their future shows, because I know I'm going to. If I was going to give this a rating, I'd give this 5 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. I really found it entertaining, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. It had that it really had that rapid fire joke after joke after joke, and almost all of them were hitting, and it was kind of like the best episodes of The Simpsons or the best Monty Python sketches. I know I keep talking about Monty Python, but you can kind of see the influence here, and that's not a terrible thing, because yeah, I really did enjoy this. So yeah, go check out the Handful of Bugs Theatre Company and see what they have coming up next. You're listening to Subculture on CentralCoastRadio.com, and we will be back right after this.